Where does this unshakable belief in economic growth come from? Has it always been there? Is it really part of human nature?
It was through audacious and imaginative use of mass production methods that U.S. industry was able to perform its wartime miracles, to build more planes than all the United Nations put together, to turn out ships at the rate of 200 a month, ships which carried overseas the armed might of the United States to decide the outcome of a war.
The success story of economic growth began during World War II. Mass production of tanks and aircraft led the American economy out of crisis. The output of military equipment was now calculated by a new statistical measure, gross domestic product, or GDP. If production, i.e. GDP, grew, then so did prosperity. Americans believed so firmly in this new formula that they compelled their allies to bring their economic policies in line with it. From then on, it wasn't people's incomes that counted, it was only growth.
And it turned out to be such a useful measure, actually, for the war effort and for understanding the war effort, that afterwards there was a lot of effort put into building this system of national accounts, having this number, the GDP, correctly measured through the economy, and it became almost incrementally, it became the single most important policy number across the world. It kind of symbolizes progress to us. It sort of says, wow, things are getting bigger, so they must be getting better. That was the birth of the GDP.
In the 3 decades after the war, the Western economies grew up to 8% annually. In the US, they called it the golden age of capitalism. In France, they were the 30 glorious years. In Germany, it was the economic miracle. An entire generation enjoyed material prosperity and full employment, and this became engraved in the collective consciousness. Even though these high growth rates were only made possible by massive wartime destruction, the belief in growth was now unstoppable. GDP became the most important benchmark in history.